Hope everyone's doing well today. I just barely made it to play in a tournament today. I didn't know if I was going to do that or not, but here I am. Family's having lunch, and I just got home after taking care of a lot of errands and had to manage a few things at the restaurant on the phone. But now we're here, and we're playing in a tournament, so this is great. And I will manage the stream. So I hope everyone's doing really well. I had a lot of fun watching, while I was doing my work, I was watching or listening to VF Numbers stream, and that was great. Really good matches in there. Okay, looks like I'm in a pool with a lot of Japanese players, so maybe I'll get destroyed. It should be fun though. I don't mind. I like learning, I like developing, so being in the thick of it, fighting really hard opponents, that's what it's all about. That's what I like. So, but I did feel bad about missing the 1 o'clock and the 5 o'clock this morning, so, or Pacific time, that's what they were at. Alright, let's do this. We got Marionette. I'm going to get blown up pretty good. Their Leon is really good. I'm going to do very best I can. It's probably going to be a laggy connection, so that's going to be another strike against me. But we'll see. So, you know, it's the weekend. It's the time that my kids are allowed to go online. So I'm not going to deny it to them unless they start showing signs of, you know, antisocial behavior and stuff. But I will be training them on why, you know, things that we need to make up for the fact that social media is bad, and why they're not on social media, though they do use YouTube. Oh god, wow, Pharmacist B Ninja, yeah, left the room. Alright, this is a monster room, so I understand when people jump out, jump in, jump out. So let's see how it goes. Alright, I'm gonna fight against Gogo Pika. This is going to be tough. I'm not expecting to do well in this tournament. I haven't been fighting the international scene that much, but man, we've got some monsters in here, and I know that I recognize their names, so yeah. I'm just going to do the best I can. Psycho from Taipei, awesome. Taiwan represent, you know. We've had some good players from Taiwan in America as well, so like that. All right, Gogo Pika, here we go. Ganbai, ganbai. Let's get a feel for the connection. Let's see what they like to do. Okay, good. This will be a little tough. They like to punch. They know to do that against Leon. Very good. Oh man, I can't evade on this. Very nice. Very nice. I'm gonna lose flat out. Man, our connection is what it is.
knucklehead.
Let's see if this new opening will work.
Ready, go! Round 2. Ready, go! Round 3. Ready, go!
Good game. Thank you very much, Go Pickup. I'm glad I was able to steal that first game, make a comeback. And that was
Serious fight.
a lot of fun. It's very stressful because I'm fighting Japan. I think I'm fighting Japan or Asia. At the very least, I'm fighting Asia. Alright, so this is going to be really tough though. Level 41 Hasen Sunian. Alright. Anyways, I hope everyone's doing good today. I'm so happy to be able to play the tournament, though, and glad I was able to kind of get a feel for the connection that we were having, and kind of the way that Gogo Pekka, the way that their Jeffrey kind of plays, or what they're comfortable with, and it might be worth what they're comfortable with online, right? Because their game feels a little. They're trying to be careful, but it's also Jeffrey. Jeffrey has a hard time cracking people open. So maintaining a lot of pressure and just being very aggressive against Jeffrey can work as long as you're not too predictable about when you want to go for a throw or when you want to go for something slow, you know. So I think I was able to get through that. I found that 6 PP was a strong opening against them because they like aggressive starts. And I also realized that I was going to have trouble doing like spot evades because the game was playing a little slower, and that's just a little harder to do without the buffer room. You kind of get more buffer room because the game is playing at a slower speed, just very slightly slower, and that's a good thing. That helps compensate a lot for what would happen if it tried to play full speed with lag, right? That would drive you nuts because you would be botching a lot of stuff. So by slowing the game down slightly, the game is giving you more room to deal with the lag, which is better. So yeah, you're still able to buffer mostly the same stuff. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Marionette is I've seen them play a bit, but everybody in here is pretty strong, and look, I'm like the lowest rank in the winner's bracket left, right? Everybody else that's lower rank has fallen down to the loser's bracket. So yeah. This is gonna be a tough one though. I'm fighting a lot of Dragon Lords in Asia. It's nothing to scoff at, all very strong, and I'm not expecting to do that well. That said, all these matchups are interesting. They're characters I do have experience with, but Sarah gives me the hardest time online. Shun can, because it depends on the Shun player themselves. I fought so many Shun players, but they all play differently. When the Shun player is... if one of the harder ones usually against me, the ones that I have the hardest time with are the ones that can outzone me, because Shun is actually better at zoning than Leon is, but not all Shun players like to play that way. So Crazy Drunk is happy to do that, as well as all the aggressives, and Crazy Drunk has like the most complete Shun. So training against Crazy Drunk, Shun like trains you against a lot of them. But then again, it surprises you how aggressive a Shun player can be. So just the experience I have fighting so many different Shun players has helped a lot. But I have no idea what to expect against Hassanian. And right now we're settling the battle between Pai and Jean, and it's even. Zero Heartful is the higher rank one. Doesn't mean much, but you know, Vivid Dot 4. That could be an Oceania player for all I know. Could be a European player. I don't recognize them in NA though, so maybe they are. Let's see here. But man, but they're gonna have the right to challenge Mizugi Sarah. Yep, and it was Zero Heartful. Yep, I am the lowest rank left in the winners bracket. Let's see if I can maintain that, but I'll probably be knocked into the losers bracket. Let's see if I can surprise him though. See if I can really surprise this Shun. You know, scare him a little. But maybe he opens with 3P and beats what I'm going to do next. Let's see it. 3P is a really good opener for Shun, but not many Shun players use it. They like to do some other stuff. Yep. That was good. Yep, that was good too. I need to do this. It is playing at a slower speed, but that's no excuse. Yep, good game. Very patient, that was good. Hey Jimmy, good to see you, Blaring. Good to see you, Quincy. It's gonna be hard fighting this one. He learned to be patient. So he learned to be very patient. But I think I can still beat some of his opening options, so we'll see. We'll see if he switches it up though. Oh, that was nice dash throw.
Knockout.
Nice. Good choice. This is a really fun battle.
Round 3. Ready, go! Knockout.
Awesome. VF4 is always fun to play.
Ready, go!
That was really good. I should have evaded. I thought he would go high or something. That's dumb.
Ready, go!
Ah, nice. Nice. Good game. Good game. That was a really good choice, Finn. I had a lot of fun with that match. Good game. Alright. I'm gonna fight Gogo Pika again. Okay, alright. Maybe fight Zero Heartful. Oh man. How's everyone doing today? Jimmy, really good to see you in the VF Numbers chat today, so. It'll be fun. I just haven't played rank, so you know, I rarely have the time to play rank, and the times when I do play are not good times to play rank. So, I think I would have hit Stormwood long ago. So if I did, I'm still like at like 500 games total in ranked. I'm using my secret arcade stick, the one that I've been working on for a while, but I do love playing with the Nth, and I've been playing with that quite a bit earlier this week. But right now I am playing on, but I can say what components I'm using. I'm playing with a golden lever, and I'm playing the same one that I played 2 nights ago. So golden lever and then crown 202 buttons, which have this nice quieter sound. There are definitely good times to play ranked, at least in my area, and that's usually the times when I cannot play, which is the afternoon. There's always like opponents then. Alright, let's see if Gogo Pika gets his revenge on me.
Round 1. Ready, go!
He always delays, so I need to be a little more aggressive. And the connection is a little rough. That was interesting. That was Leon's stuff. He's weak against lows though. So his weakness are the low attacks. At least for now. Later on he might knee me or something.
Ready, go!
Good. Yeah.
Round 3. Ready, go!
Shoot, really? Does it count as my loss or win? What happened? Did he quit? What? I'm out? I'm out of the tournament. Okay. That's what it is. It's okay. We'll watch the tournament. We will watch the tournament. Yeah. So, like... It's a rough one. It's happened and this thing doesn't... Yeah. Maybe it was rigged. I don't know. That's what it is. It sucks. I don't think it was my connection, but yeah. Well, I mean, it's my connection because I'm far away. Yeah. There you go. But yeah, that sucks. That's too bad. We'll watch the tournament. But yeah. It's not like we're fighting for something really huge, and it's not like we get put on this big list of winners for the week, but we do get a mark on our name though if we go deep into a tournament. And I think I was able, I think at least I'm able to handle the online better than Gogo Pika. They definitely struggled with the connection against me, right? Low attacks, couldn't deal with. Yeah. Juicebox, good to see ya. But that's okay. I get to eat pizza. I like commentating these tournaments anyways because I like watching the really strong players play in these. It's fun watching how they play online as well. And yeah, so we'll get to see that. I would probably bet on Zero Heartful, but they're fighting Vivid again. Okay, So one thing I don't like about the double elimination bracket on this game is that you end up having a lot of rematches because of how it seeds the losers bracket. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm used to losers brackets that seed kind of reverse. Like, don't we seed reverse in losers bracket in most of the tournaments that we play in? So that like you end up having a mixed like match, like you end up fighting somebody else that got knocked into losers, or is rematching against somebody that you probably beat earlier like a common thing. So like, but this game, like it almost always will seed you so that you're replaying the same guy you fought earlier, which is kind of, it's in my view it's not ideal, right? But it gives rematch chances. And at Sega Cup, I beat up Black Star in like the winners bracket, and then after LA Akira knocked me into the losers bracket, Black Star knocked me out of the tournament. So, so we did have a rematch in the but that was like a losers bracket, like semi-final or final at Sega Cup. So, yeah. I think I've seen Momo play before. Momo Gogo. We're waiting on Dandayo, yes, and Marionette. And I still am betting on Marionette. I feel like I've seen Marionette play before, and I know they're strong. So let's see. No, LA Akira, maybe he does, but LA Akira is too busy with work because he also got into the restaurant industry, all that available time and dining that he was able to do as a guy who ran a visual effects studio is now gone because he works in the restaurant industry. Just like me. But, I'm just crazy enough to play at a super late hour, Yeah, well, and Okamoto Kitchen is awesome. So I think they've hit their groove, ironically, during COVID. But I think they're doing fantastic now, and I'm glad to hear that. I think it was really tough for them for a while. I think one part of it is that they actually run into a common problem when you cater to gamers, And it wasn't like they were just catering to gamers. They were catering to anime crowd. They were catering to a crowd that was picky about the food but couldn't understand the real price of the food. Like, the stuff they make should be priced way higher than what they charge for it. But for the first few years, the customers they had were the type that would whine like crazy about that. And so, but I think what was cool, LA Akira ended up taking a customer service position, different from mine, but one I respect a lot, where he says, we're just not going to take crap from customers now. and I think that was good. I think he had to, but he did it at the right time. He did it when they had already established a good loyal base that understands them and that respects the brand, respects what they're doing, and so they have people on their side whenever they call out BS from customers online. So people writes a bad review, they call it out. You know, people make really bad claims or being really nasty to them, they call it out. They're like, we're not going to subject our staff to this BS, you know. And they do that road, right? For me, I will defend my staff when there's a line for harassment and stuff like that. But I also believe that like we're the professionals and the customers are on personal time. And so I have a more old school view of it, but I totally do agree with what Gerald's doing. It's just how you communicate, right? And so I just train my staff to communicate in a different way, but also I do step in when there's abuse. Yeah. So like, They make amazing stuff, yeah. I mean, and the takoyaki looks really good. I know that Juicebox loves the takoyaki, which, by the way, is octopus. It's not squid, but you can call it squid balls if you want. But takoyaki is amazing, and but you can mix squid into the ingredients, yeah. So, you know, I mean, it depends. I deal with a lot of families, so I got to be patient with a lot of parents that are dealing with a lot of stress already, and I train my staff to understand, like, that it's important that we don't screw up our to-go orders, because what it means to the customer, like what they're going through as a parent, you know, messing up that order, it might seem like a couple minutes for us, or a few. It might feel like a pain for our cook who has to recook it, and our staff that's repacking it. But for that customer, it could totally mean they lost their personal free time for the whole night because they were busy feeding the kids, showering the kids. They were busy getting everything ready, helping with homework, and then they lost all their personal time because we screwed up the order. And that they came back, they took the time to come back and get the remake, you know. So I you know, and Gerald LA Akira understands that too. So I'm not saying that he don't. But I think it's really good though that LA Care, especially in LA and especially with the food truck, really draws that line and says you're not going to be an ass to us. So I think that's awesome. And I think when he made that choice was the right timing to do that. Especially because it's that scene. And especially because they don't deserve it. Like, he is such a professional. And let's see how this goes, right? I would have fought against this Sarah. This Sarah probably would have beaten me up. But Hesenia cleanly won 2-0 against me. I cannot complain.
Round 3. Ready, go!
Oh, interesting. Man, this Sarah. Oh, thank you very much, Quincy. It's, you know, we all do our best, and but LA Akira, he really, I'm really proud of him. But I also know that at this point he would love to retire and get back to, or I know he wishes he could do the job he used to do, but it's hard because it's become an international market where people are poaching on price. And then we're having to watch movies that go up and down on the quality of visual effects, you know, because they're gonna pick the next guy that's really cheap, or the next huge team that's really cheap, but then they might not get the quality. You know? But like one of the cool things you can see of L.A. Akira's work is the Roland Emmerich film 2012. Not my favorite director, but hey, he did the visual effects for the whole the scene where Tokyo is suffering from massive global earthquake and destruction, and it looks real. It looks like Tokyo. He CG'd that whole thing, So, and that was in the year 2011. I think he was making that in 2011 or 2010. He used to. Well, he used to do it for commercials. So, like Ford and like some of the car companies, like Ford, would be his customer, and so he would do commercials. And then he also got some gigs doing film too, and it was kind of like a big gamble for him. But 2012 is one of those films. Yeah. And on top of that, he owned the studio. And the biggest irony, I lived in Los Angeles in Sherman Oaks when I was a kid, when I was 10 and 11 years old, and 12 a little bit. And the apartment I lived in when I was 11 is literally 2 blocks away from where L.A. Akira's studio was. During Sega Cup 2013, we played a lot of sessions at the studio, so it was really weird just being like next to the corner market from where I used to live. So I was just like, that's my elementary school, and that's my old apartment over there. And that's where I first played Street Fighter 2, is just like 3 blocks from there. So yeah. But also L.A. Akira used to, a long time ago, worked at Die Hard. And he also worked for the magazine Die Hard Game Fan. And, I was probably one of his customers buying, like, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past probably from him. So, because I bought that at Die Hard. So, it was over in Tarzana, California. Just not far from Encino. Yeah. But yeah, Okamoto Kitchen, they make really high quality food with high quality ingredients. It's really good. So like it should not be cheap. And I think I haven't checked the prices lately, but I'm guessing he's probably been able to at least set the price to to a much more fair price for what they're offering. And again, it seems very clear that his customers love him. When you see that much testimonial like on a daily basis on social media, that's actually pretty impressive to do. So, but it's still a hard business. He still doesn't feel like he's not even going to feel like he's that big of a success either, because this industry is really brutal. So, like, and you're dealing with customers that totally don't get it, or don't get the price, The cost of, the price of chicken has tripled in the last 18 months, right? The price of chicken breast has tripled in the past 18 months. Do you see us tripling the prices of food? Right? We don't, yeah. Do you see us tripling the price? No, we increased the price by about maybe 10 to 15%, and it feels rough for the customer still, right? But at the same time, everybody knows that you got to pay your staff better, and so we do. I pay my staff better, but it comes at a cost. It comes at a huge cost, and it's rough. It's a rough business. It all is. And so nowadays, I just try to talk to people about understanding your worth, the value of your work, and then the value of other people's work, if you can think about that. And some things are luxuries, and this is not. Also, I'm proud of my customer service skills. I believe I'm very strong at it, but I do not believe that customer service is is the answer for everything in life. I think it's stupid that we apply customer service logic to teachers. I think that's really stupid. Teachers should have some leeway to enforce order and to really guide a child, even with some rougher means. Doesn't mean they abuse them, but it means that they're not just trying to make parents happy, they're trying to work towards a better outcome, right? And then Same with doctors, right? Now, we know that doctors should show that they're listening to customers because that's going to affect whether they get sued or not, and that's fine. But at the same time, we shouldn't measure doctors by customer service necessarily. That's more like number 4 or 5, or way later on the list. There are much higher priority things, right? But I do think that in the last 20 years, we've had a very strong consumer society, right? Believes in free shipping, which shipping's not free. But it's what we've grown used to. But then we start confusing them as rights, and it is presented as rights, right? Like the Bill of Rights for the airline, the Bill of Rights for customers, which is it's designed to make you feel good, But I'm proud of doing good customer service, but for me, the basis of good customer service is good faith and goodwill. Identifying that, because when customers have bad faith, bad will, then that's not cool. That's totally, that's where I'm like, okay, I'll do the bare minimum there, but it's still, I'm being kind of nice to them. But the customers that have good faith, the ones that, if they let me, like, they're not even asking for anything in return, they're just letting me know that there was a problem, I'll go miles and miles and miles for that customer. Because I know, like, they want to keep coming back. They want us to do a good job for them. So, yeah. So, service industry is always going to be tough. Like, it's always going to tread that, because here's the thing. It's not just... The thing is, in the restaurant industry, the fact is there's a low barrier to entry. And the price for that low barrier to entry is a high failure rate, because you don't have to be smart at business to open a business. You just had to have had some people believe in you enough to have invested in you, or you had saved up enough money, right? And there's going to be a lot of people that don't know how to do business that run a business. Maybe I'm one of them, right? But and so it's not an efficient marketplace. It's an inefficient marketplace, and whenever somebody loses, it doesn't, like, another guy who's going to guarantee loss is still going to come in. It doesn't stop new people that don't know what they're doing from getting into the marketplace. So that's kind of where we get, like, weird price wars, right? Where we get people that undervalue their product and sell it way too cheap because they're learning the business. And whenever those people lose out, it's not like all that's left are the people that are doing a good job. There's still a lot of new people coming in every year because it's a low barrier to entry. Service industry is rough, and if you want to look at the trends for owners of businesses, a lot of restaurant owners end up wanting to be suppliers. Like they end up at some point deciding they would like to be the supplier or the warehouse. And then those guys, the supplier and the warehouse, they end up wishing that they could be property owners, that just managing property. So basically everybody wants to have less and less staff because of the headache of running staff. So and people are proud of the things they do, When it comes to stagflation, we were on a path long ago. Like, the inflation we're dealing with right now was inevitable. It was even, we predicted at every corner, It doesn't matter who's president or in charge, that was inevitable. We're dealing with a lot of supply kinks on top of all that. We're dealing with a lot of global trends, a lot of things that have happened in different countries that are contributing to what's happening now, So I understand, like, when you feel like you don't know and you don't care, but then it hits you hard, right? And then that's when I feel like, well, if you cared, it could have helped understand it, but it's still going to be frustrating. But at the same time, there's a lot going into it. We're about to see interesting global supply chain problems again, from, like, the same situation we saw last year, where there's, like, too many freight ships stuck on the coast. We're about to see that again. Partly, and that one, and that's just one of many problems, but that one comes from China managing COVID very strongly, which is interesting. But at the same time, they've still maintained production, but they did have a production halt. And they are such a huge, massive part of the production supply line. We're about to see them completely, we're going to see the results of them surging and being like, we're going to fulfill our orders like crazy, but that causes like an overload at different parts of the supply chain. So that itself is going to be interesting. So yeah, so again, you know, when it comes to the business has to determine what its values are and how to do a business model that works. But you know, 80% of them are not going to do it correctly. That's just life. You know, it's kind of like this. Let's look at fighting games and rank, right? It is unreasonable to believe that everybody should have an 80% win rate in a fighting game online, right? That's like stupid, right? That's like defies all logic of averages, right? But everybody believes that the game is balanced if they're at 80% wins. I'm at 70% wins. I'm like probably the only one because I don't play rank much, you know. And it's only because of that. If I played rank as much as like the people in this chat, my win rate would be around 60%. Is my guess, and that's really good. You know, in competitive games, 35 to 65% is really good. That's actually really, really good. It means you're developing, or you have the room to develop, and you're not being completely beat up or completely dominant. If you're like 80%, like with a lot of matches, then you're like GT, where you're like a big fish in a very small pond. You know, and it means that the pool is not sufficiently competitive. So when I see people coming from a card game that wasn't that popular and saying that they feel that the popular card game they're playing now is unfair, broken because they're not at 80%, I'm like, dude, you came from a small game that didn't have enough people playing and you happen to be strong in that game. That's all it was. Yeah, so anyways, bring that back to business. That's similar to restaurants. Most of them are going to fail. And then most people, it's such a low barrier to entry that you don't have to be good at business to open a restaurant. And you can be good at business and fail a restaurant, right? There is a luck component too, and there is like the timing, the area you live in, the product you're offering, your vision, your dream lining up with what could be trending, or with a pandemic hitting, you know. There's a lot of aspects that go into it, so timing is always a factor, and it's still decisions you make, but there's a lot of luck with it too. I worked really hard. I did a lot of thinking, and things worked out for me during the pandemic. But you know what? There's a lot of really smart people that worked really hard, did a lot of thinking, made decisions just like I did, didn't work out for them. You know, it just didn't happen to be the right ones, or maybe they were in an impossible situation. Hey, good games to you. Thank you, David Blaine. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm not trying to be fatalistic. It's more about like, I just view things as, okay, we manage, right? And we gonna maximize our wins. We're gonna try to recognize our losses, and we're gonna try to make solid decisions within the chaos of the environment we're in, you know. And then I happen to be very much about customer service, but when it comes to customers, yeah, my customers have had, because I've had to raise prices and it was long overdue, some of my customers had to rebudget. They had to become customers that ordered twice a week instead of 3 times a week. And I 100% understand. And I'm so grateful they still are making room for me, you know. But they also know that there's nothing I can do about, oh man, I crashed on replay. It's me. And so, well, I think the barrier to entry is always tough. It's just lower on the spectrum compared to other businesses you could be doing if you want to own a business. And one thing I will tell you that, you know, LA Akira has owned 2 businesses at least now, right? Not everybody wants to own a business. My wife doesn't want to own a business. I'm at the point where I I think about it every day this year. Like, do I want to move on because I'm tired? Do I want to get a job and work for somebody else because I think I can kill it? I think I can kick ass at another job, but like not feel this non-stop stress, frustration that I deal, and I manage employees that are all wonderful, but it's still managing people, and it still can be a headache despite how wonderful my employees are, I feel, and there's no entitlements, and you shouldn't feel that way, but you do feel worn out because you're going to do a lot for people, but people got to move on too, and it's not personal. So when an employee, decides that it's time for them to move on, it doesn't matter how good I was to them, and I think I was pretty amazing to them. I'm not entitled to be keeping them, right? Even if I'm willing to pay a lot to keep them, and that's just life. So, yeah. We were talking about a bunch of different stuff. We talked about LA Akira earlier, and because he runs Okamoto Kitchen, and I gave a brief history about his that he had run a visual effects studio too, and that was his line of work before that. But I've also, aired some spilling some of the tea when it comes to restaurant work or food industry, and I told the chat that sure enough, LA Akira has felt the frustrations of being in the food industry, felt the frustrations of, the customers feel like they know your job better than you do. I didn't say that one, but I'm saying it now. Everybody's watched Food Network, so they must know how to run a business better than you. They've all watched Gordon Ramsay. They must know how to do a restaurant better than you. So, so it's all, that one was very interesting. It's not so much now. That was more of a millennial thing with the 2000s and the 2010s, I think younger generation so far seems like they could care less. The hard part is we've got a generation now that's been raised on fast casual, paying at the counter, and not even thinking about giving a tip, right? But I still train my staff to give the best customer service. I still staff with customer service in mind. But the attitude of tip has changed. I would say millennials probably, for all the complaints we can have about millennials were probably the best tippers for both to-go and dine-in. Because millennial generation is about experiences until COVID, right? COVID is when they started having to get material stuff to fill that gap of not traveling or going out to dine out as much as they were doing before COVID, And so, so millennials were tipping very well for both dine-in and to-go, right? I might get some Gen Xers my age who might be like, this is to-go. Like, even during COVID, this is to-go. Why should I give a tip, right? But then when it comes to, like, the younger generation after millennials, then it's kind of like, I don't know, when it comes to tip, because, like, they got used to fast casual, so you don't really need the tip there, and you don't feel the pressure to tip there. If you could, but that's more of like the millennials feeling like they should hit the 15, 18, 20% button on the tablet. We don't do tablets on my restaurant, but I'm just saying I can see the effect on the customer about, like, from fast casual having that less personalized service with the cashier anyways.
Round two.
That's a tough one. It depends on the area you're in, In America, I'd say right now, maybe as a whole, we finally gotten to where 18% is actually considered a standard tip, but a lot of people still follow the 15% rule. And then if it's like a big office catering order, I just put in 10%. Or I just kind of give a suggested, like, I recommend a 10% when it's a big order like that. Offices are tough because, like, if you leave it up to the people, they feel very guilty, and there's sort of a defer to higher authority, which is, I want to give you a good tip, but I don't know if my boss would be cool with it, so here's like $5. So when you put in the 10%, then they're like, oh, okay, that's a reasonable thing, and then they'll do the 10% for like an office order. So, yeah. So, Sorensen, yeah, what you're doing is kind of similar to wages. Fortunately, wages have gone up a lot, and I'm in Portland, so the minimum wage in Portland is is already 15, and up. It's going to be up to 16 something this summer, So people need to live, 100%. Some people are actually. A lot of my customers are willing to pay more. I mean, they knew that I had held off raising the price for such a long time that they knew that I was charging way too low, and so most of my customers have been very good about it. But some customers have had to re-budget because of life. But in Thailand the rule is funny. It's not a percentage. It's just a flat 20 baht, which is less than $1, but it means a lot over there. So it's just a flat 20 baht, whatever. It's like a flat tip that you just kind of a standard tip, and you'd have to be pretty bad to not get that tip. So, Yeah. Yeah. Austin seemed like it was pretty good on the wage and stuff in Texas. But yeah. But but Portland is definitely raising its rate every year. It has been for a few years. It is tough on the restaurant industry. Not gonna lie, that is a truth. They're not lying when they say that. But I'm not against it either. But it does make my work harder, and customers struggle when you increase the price once every 3 or 4 years. So feeling compelled to do it every 2 years is kind of rough. But it's not just that, of course. Look, your bills never get higher, and your bills don't care how many days you are open in the month. So February is the same rent, as January. And that's 3 whole different days. So.
Round 3. Ready, go!
If people want to know, actually, so this brings up, 10 years ago, many restaurants in America tried to abolish tip. And that experiment was very interesting, and the results were very interesting. What I can say is this. By getting rid of tip, but increasing the price, in my experience, one of the things I was pretty confident was going to happen did happen, which was the customer got frustrated. And the customer got frustrated because in America, it's a very American idea that we want to vote with our dollars. And so a tip is a way for us to really tell you how we felt about the service. So taking that away from us Americans drives us nuts. We don't say it when we're theorizing this, but then you see it play out in the attitudes of customers. I didn't do this. But getting rid of tips, that's something that we did see was the frustration from customers because they wanted to tip. So when a restaurant said we don't do tips, the customer felt like they were robbed of their ability to kind of tell you how they felt with their dollars. Teamwork improved. Teamwork improved in a lot of the restaurants that got rid of tip. The staff worked better as a team. On the downside, the customer service itself lowered. With the incentive reduced, it was true that customers or that servers was giving less high quality customer service than under a tip model. But the teamwork did improve. So that's interesting food for thought there. And so some of the restaurants that got rid of tips instantly went back to tips. But then some of the other restaurants went back to tips, but they tried to they started on the path of paying their staff a little more for that better teamwork and less stress over the tip, but also still have the tip as an incentive to really give good customer service. And so, I think there was a point made that you really could pay your staff more, and it would really benefit So,
You'll enjoy this, trust
but
me.
different people took that research as they wanted. They kind of shoehorned it into whatever it is they already felt about the industry and tips. And this Sarah's killing it. And they're a VF3 player, 100%. Gotta love 4-4P. Glad I see more Sarah players use it now. And that Sarah Oki is a pain. Oh, nice. It could be very generational. You're in the millennial category, I believe, right, Juicebox? So, like at the end of it, and the youngest member of the millennials. But yeah, I think the voting with your dollars thing, it's an interesting thing. So like in the 2000s, I had different conversations with different friends because I had a friend in the virtual on community, AG, who he brought one of our common friends, Brent, who was an American virtual on player, to Japan, and he told Brent, I think it's Brent. He told Brent, do not give a tip in Japan. The owner of the shop there is proud of the price that they set, so you should just pay that price. And in the culture back then, if you give a tip, it's like you're taking pity on him, like you're treating him like a homeless person. And so do not give him a tip. But Brent gave a tip and it pissed AG off so bad. And AG really explained it to him not to do it. I've told a lot of American friends this, but back in the 2000s, with Generation X and with young millennials at the time, or older millennials now, a lot of times the response was, but can I tell the bartender that this is my appreciation? Like they felt like they had to give a tip. This explanation was not sufficient for them. They were like, they were trying so hard to argue for giving the tip. It felt like they felt like it was wrong not to give a tip if it was a good bar.
I'm the world's strongest!
No, hey, speak off topic all you want. We're in a social environment. I like more chatting, not less. So speak whatever you like. And I moved. Juicebox can tell you that I shift topics all the freaking time, so I will talk about anything.
Round one. Ready, go!
I do agree, though, that while I do believe in tips, I do agree with Juicebox that vote with your presence. Don't come back if you didn't like it. You know? So.
Round two. Ready, go!
What I will say is with tips in America, though, like some servers really are able to make like a lot of money that way. But it's got its pros and cons. Like I make huge tips for Thai food. Me personally, when I work as a server, right? Like I end up getting tips that are comparable to a steakhouse or to a Japanese restaurant, which are the ones that tend to make the best. If a really good Japanese restaurant. My servers don't make that, and they're good, and I train them to be good. Not all of them are great. There's some that are weaker, but I make really good tips, and the key to that is very easy. Like even when I work at another restaurant, I make really good tips, and even when I work at another restaurant, I get asked if I'm the owner of that restaurant, and that's because you you guys can tell why. I know you guys can tell why. But it has nothing to do, like I'm not a girl, right? Conventional wisdom is women make better tips than guys. while I have had years where I'm attractive, I'm not the most attractive guy. And I clearly am not tactical about my customer service. And yet a lot of people believe that you gotta be tactical to get good tips. You can be tactical to get certain good tips from certain people. But overall, it's just the basics, you know? Have really good basics. Do a good job, you know? And show them that you care. That's pretty much it, you know? Don't think about the tip. The people that think about the tip are always the ones who make the lowest tip. Always, in my experience. Because everyone can see it. Everyone can see the person that's only chasing a tip. People can tell when you're insincere or if you're trying to compensate for bad basics, you know? You need good basics. Same in BF, you need good basics, you know? Right? We had like this Jeffrey player in the VF seed who always tried to do toe kick a do and could never win against a decent player, right? Because he didn't have, I mean, nothing against him. That was just how he liked to play. But without the basics, he couldn't really win against like rank 30 and up, you know? I get good tips from all types of demographics. So now there's definitely some customers that will never give like great tips, but there's also misconceptions there too, right? So some demographics don't give good tips until you've built a relationship with them, until you've been like their reliable server for a while. And then there's some customers that won't, that just, it's just not their thing, right? Juicebox might not always give me a great tip, but I'm still going to give great service. And Juicebox's friends will probably give me a great tip. It's just kind of weird, you know. But again, I'm not hunting for the tip. And actually, in my restaurant, I end up giving my tip to the server. So unless I have issues with their service, if I feel like they were dumping the work on me, then I'll take my share. But if, I've actually redistributed my tips to my staff almost always, because as long as they're doing a fine job, then that's what I'll do. But if I see that that there's severe problems with their service or their basics, then I'll take a normal server share of the tips, and I'll let them know. I always announce it. I do tell staff if I'm going to take tips or to expect it, you know, that shift. So. Oh, yeah. But you know, something I have learned in customer service is a lot of customer service problems can be solved with communication, right? But it's really easy to default to kind of blaming it as a problem with the customer or the type of business you're in, right? I'm in Thai food, which is ethnic food. And a server, when I came back to the business, one server said, "How come the customer cannot wait for a table?" And then I told them that I actually used to think this way too. But then I realized the problem wasn't that the customer couldn't wait for Thai food but could wait for steak. The problem was we didn't communicate the wait for a table. There is, you know, a really cheap hole in the wall, amazing Korean food place. People line up for it, and all it has at the front is a sign-up sheet, right? They communicate it. You're gonna wait in line, but we're gonna be fair to you. What most Americans don't want is to feel like they were treated unfairly. So they don't want someone cutting in front of them unfairly. That's what Americans don't want. So as long as you reassure them that there's something remotely fair in who gets to be seated, or people made reservations, they're cool. But if you don't say a word, if you don't say hi to them, you don't do a greeting, or you don't even just say like what I do, which is, "Hey, welcome, I'll be right with you. I just gotta take care of a few things and we're gonna take care of you." If you don't do that, then you're setting yourself up for immediate judgment, failure, and impatience. You're not a cheap ass. You bought a Victrix, you know, and I love that you got a Victrix and that it's working awesome for you, just like it works awesome for me. So, I know you like good things too. You're a man of taste. You also have artwork. You've got a Virtua Fighter. You've got this. You've got the Kockenbecker Virtua Fighter print, which is awesome. That poster's amazing. See, very nice. Yeah, 10 to 20. It's good. That's really nice that you even do the 10%. Hey, Nelly, good to see you again. Man, it was awesome. I enjoyed VF Numbers chat when I was able to quickly read it when I was parked, and but also listening to Numbers respond to everybody was great. Man. It's fun watching these Dragon Fangs fight. Am I in a gold tournament? What am I? Silver Cup. Yeah, Silver Cup. And I'm the only player left that's not in this, like... Yeah, I'm the only player left. I guess Jeffrey's gonna win this. I'm on a delayed replay, it looks like. No, but it's winners finals. Man, that low punch conversion right there. Mizuki might have lost, but that was really cool. I like the fight that they put up to the very end. That's the mindset you gotta have in Virtua Fighter, you know? No, Juicebox, thanks for what you're doing, both on King of Fighters and Virtua Fighter. And I know it's because you love Virtua Fighter. You wouldn't do it if you didn't love Virtua Fighter, but I'm really grateful that that you are making some time for Virtua Fighter here and there, because it's a lot. It means a lot to this community, and it helps us a lot. And I think it's always correlated with increased interest. Like, I think, again, you don't consider yourself an influencer, but I will say there are people who end up appreciating and more enthusiastic about Virtua Fighter when you're playing it. So thanks so much for that. I'm really grateful for it. But I'm also grateful for fighting in Virtua Fighter 2. We're gonna say this is like Dennis L201's cousin. Another Taipei Jackie. Online can't confirm that. Yes. Yeah, Juicebox has been an awesome educator for Virtua Fighter and for, you know, I love the way Juicebox channels his love of fighting games, but I also think that Juicebox has a very unique approach and skill set and way to do it, but that process helps people that are watching too. So that's also what I love about the Juicebox streams. Like, you might not even be you might not be the type that benefits in the same exact way that a Juicebox does, but you totally still benefit from watching Juicebox regardless. And for us old vets, we like watching Juicebox streams because then we're like, oh yeah, you can do that too. I forgot about that. Or like, oh, I didn't know that. You know, we do that a lot when we're watching the Juicebox streams. So. Okay. So using punch string pressure during the Mitaka situation. That backdash 2P plus K is so mean. It just sucks that they couldn't convert it. So Sarah's backdash 2P low kick. I think if this player was able to convert it, which I'm sure they do offline, that's really scary. It's like, because that move is so good. Like, just this move that Sarah can throw out, and if it hits, she gets a combo, you know.
Round one. Ready, go!
It definitely is an option, Akira's single palm follow-up palm. I think it's definitely an option when you're using like ECD and crouch dash like I do, even though with Akira, dash is kind of like a really good thing to do with Akira, like normal dash. But that said, also shoulder ram. Shoulder ram is so freaking good. Like, there's a lot of situations where Akira's shoulder ram would annoy the crap out of the opponent. Just from like seeing like, oh, I ducked this thing. Here's shoulder ram. You know? It's okay to overuse P at our levels right now, but it is good to move past it because. So I am working on this article about dealing with low punch, and part of it, you know, because a lot of developing players have asked me like, how do you deal with low punch, or they like to say that low punch is broken, and I'm like, it's not. But also, low punch itself is not the threat. You got to deal, but also, low punch is a setup. It's low reward also. In high level play, there's a time to use it, but if your opponent hard reads it, like you eat so much damage, so you can't just do it willy nilly. You know, you have to moderate it at higher and higher levels of play. But yeah, I use it a lot because I kind of know when, but I also feel out when the opponent's going to want to punish it. You know, and so when the opponents won't punish it, you know, move off of it. But it's also better to do the setups without it. But low punch and high jab teach you so much about those situations that they help you build the reflexes for all those situations. And then you eventually learn how to work without them to do those. So yeah. Yeah. Akira's shoulder ram is so nasty, and it's when a player knows how to convert with it and just like use it and then kind of just have a feel like which moves to mess with it. Oh, that's so nasty. It's mean. It's even more mean than Leon's uppercut, right? Leon's uppercut's more fair than the shoulder. Both Akira and Eileen's shoulders are really good moves. And Tricky's been using the shoulder a lot more, and just like working on how to use it more. And I think that's a good thing that they're doing. All right, losers finals.
Knockout. Round 2. Ready, go!
Yeah, it's really good there. Really, really good there. In those places. Yeah, shoulder is... Okay, it's like Virtua Fighter might not have quote-unquote mid-crushes outside of paris, but shoulder attacks are technically a mid-crush type of move. They have, because they're hitbox moves, right? And Leon's uppercut is similar. It has very weird situations where it will cheat. Shoulders do it more consistently. Yeah. Eileen having shoulder. Oh, yeah, and she doubles up, right? It's like coo. Yeah. When a player learns how to use them, it's so, and not afraid to use them, so strong. Akira's shoulder is also like. In fact, Akira's shoulder is so disruptive that it's gonna set up weird situations like a guard break is possible to an opponent that's conditioned by shoulder. You know, but it is linear. It's, despite how it looks, it's a linear move, so it can be evaded in the direction. But then it can get used in ways where evading it's hard because, well, you crouch dash into it. And so, you know, like somebody complained to me about that they got hit by a double palm when they tried to evade it, and I said, well, sometimes the Akira player, especially if it's neutral or very, very small disadvantage for you, because they're doing a crouch dash into the double palm, that double palm is probably hitting you out of a failed evade. The meaty 3P is good, I think. When I saw you use the meaty 3P, I think that was pretty cool. Yeah, the meaty 3P was pretty good, man. I think I saw you use that in our matches, and I was like, oh man. Like, I haven't seen this move in a while, but Juice has found good uses for it. Spacing is always a huge part of it. Yeah, you've seen me do that too. So, yeah, I think you did comment that both Tricky and I like to do those kinds of things. So, yeah. Quincy, let me see the full context. So Quincy, if a move takes longer than 23 frames, like a lot longer, let's say it's a 30 frame attack, then you can get hit by that attack by hitting a button after evading it. If you evaded really early in a 30 frame attack, it's 23 frames of invincibility. Then suddenly there might be like, so 24, so 6, like let's say on frame 1 you evaded a 30 frame attack, so there's 6 frames left, and if you hit a button or direction you can get hit. Like, you can get hit, so like it'll retrack you. So understand that that's what sidestep is, the way that that's working is 23 frames of invulnerability. But of course, they have to already be in at least in the first frame of their attack for when you did the evade. So you're looking at like, 24. So 30 minus 24 is 6. Sometimes in those last 6 frames before they get to the hit frame, if you hit a button, they could retrack and hit you. That's why if you evade a charging attack, like a long charging attack, and then you hit a button, sometimes you get hit. That's the exact reason.
Better run home to Mama now.
Yeah, so yeah, just remember 23 is the number for evade. It's just 23 frames of invincibility. But yeah.
Round 1. Ready, go!
Yeah. Those kick guard cancels are very interesting though too. I mean, we've been using kick guard cancel since VF3 or VF2, technically since VF2, but it was fun seeing what was going to work or not work with it, or just experiencing it.
Round 2. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 3. Ready, go!
Alright, this is the real finals. Look at this rematch. I'm rooting for the Sarah, even though Akira-san is the favorite. And they are the VF senior. So I should be cheering for seniors. But I'm cheering for Mizuki.
Knockout! Round 4.
Damn, Jeffrey's so mean.
Ready, go!
Everybody wants to be Adam Yuki. No, just kidding.
Knockout!
You know what? It's tempting to think that, but I I think what's very possible with the next Virtua Fighter game, it's just called Virtua Fighter. It is technically Virtua Fighter 6, but it's not going to take place in the future. It's gonna just reset everybody's age back, and maybe they'll try to do like really quote unquote. Maybe they'll try to stylize and make the characters more popular. The problem is when Sega does that, you know, the great risk is them being super corny. So be careful what we wish for, you know, or hire somebody from Namco to make these guys more hip. I don't know. I'm in love with classic VF characters and designs, but I know a lot of people. I know Sega would listen to this demand that they need to make the game quote unquote cooler. So you can totally make the next game just called Virtua Fighter. It is a VF6, but basically it's the new Virtua Fighter, and we've reset story mode because, well, not that many people care about the story in Virtua Fighter. We like it. We don't hate it. But I don't think many people are gonna cry if the story resets, because frankly, there's not even that much that happened that if you reset and still have the same storylines, you're kind of okay. You know? Jeffrey's still on his quest for the shark. You know? I do think so. Well, so for me, the identity that I love for Virtua Fighter, a lot of people translate as realism. I translate it as martial arts and movies, or martial arts films. You know, specifically like Jet Li type of films, but even just kung fu films. Yeah. But I do like this. But grounded is definitely big, and yeah, Virtua implies that it's attempting some level of realism. But yeah, I like the cinematic martial arts of Virtua Fighter. I like that it's grounded, and I do want to preserve that. So we'll see. I definitely don't want to, you know, like I'm not looking for megaton punches, right? That's Tekken's thing, you know. But I am wondering what they can do, or you know. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Golden Harvest logo or mode, you know, or Shaw Brothers too, you know, but I'm more in line with the Golden Harvest for VF. I think VF has more Golden Harvest in it than Shaw Brothers, you know. So. Yeah, Sammo Hung's good. Yeah. So the styles that I thought would be cool personally. But there's a risk of it being convoluted, is Wing Chun and Filipino martial arts, or even Southeast Asian martial arts with Filipino and Penchak Silat. And what those would entail is a sort of a really quick, it can't be long, CQC system that could lead to, you know, quick effects, but like just like a almost mini game that happens right away, to where it's kind of a sub combo system to represent like the Chi Sao, Pak Sao, and Wing Chun, and the opponent has some level of mitigating that, but they're still taking damage. But it could also mess with them just slightly, temporarily. And then Filipino martial arts does a similar thing, because in Filipino martial arts they like to do things like blocking with the elbow so that the fist is damaged. You know, and so there's a lot of CQC type of combat in the Filipino martial arts. A lot of similar to the Wing Chun, where it's an ultra up close, and like elbow strikes, hitting the shoulder, hitting the solar plexus very directly, and attacking the armpit, you know, stuff like that. And so it looks like a Donnie Yen Ip Man fight too, also. But a good example of Filipino martial arts is the Bourne movies. Use Kali, right? For like the first 3 Bourne films especially. And then there's Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro in The Hunted. But that they showed the more traditional aspect that shows the knife fighting involved with Kali and Eskrima and Filipino martial arts. You know, but there's a hand-to-hand variation. And so I think that would be cool. But it comes at the risk of looking too much like a minigame. And so it has to be done very quickly and like elegantly. but it would be cool to have like that with the Wing Chun and with Filipino martial arts, having like this up close striking the opponent rapidly and doing combos in a unique way, you know. But then it also runs the risk of making those characters feel like a boss character. But you know, with John, the 6-6-piece subsystem create like basically an Okizeme situation from a single strike. You know, that was an elegant way to represent a subsystem. You know.
Round 4. Ready, go!
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the close range windmill punches you would see like in like both the Tai Chi and the Wushu. But you see a little bit in Wing Chun, but Wing Chun is more of like the uppercuts, like really quick uppercuts and rapid punching the guy, like boom, 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 you know, and like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. I'm okay familiar with them. Alright, congratulations. That would be cool. I like that, Juice. I like that. Congratulations to EQ-san, Mizuki Sarah, and then Psycho Taipei. That is awesome. That was a fun viewing experience. Let's see, where's the review? Tournament 01 chat. Yeah. Yay, I get best 12. Oh, yay. So, let's see. 11 o'clock is it's very unlikely I can do 11 o'clock tonight. Very unlikely I can do that. I would get home like right after, like right when it starts or right after. Croatian capoeira user. Could be. Let's see. Knowing how Sega thinks they will add a Croatian capoeira user and a Hong Kong Krav Maga expert. Those would be cool. Hong Kong, yeah. Croatian capoeira. Okay, I get your joke, streamer. Okay. So, yeah, a Hong Kong Krav Maga using Israeli martial arts from somebody in Hong Kong. It's pretty hilarious. And a Croatian using a Brazilian martial art. You know? But, you know, stranger things have happened. Yeah. And they would speak Japanese. So, yeah. I don't know. Do you guys think, like, if they did, like, a style and timeline overhaul, should they use new voices? It's hard for us as VF players, but it's easier for the rest of the world. But Sega is still Sega. And I don't know if I don't know if anybody gets those voices right, you know. Should they have Chinese be spoken in Chinese? And should they have French accents? Yeah. I would like them to keep going, John. I think they should just keep all the characters, actually, even Taka. You know, I don't want to see Taka pulled out again. I think I'm happy with Taka in the game, even though yes, he's a dramatically different character. And the only bad thing for me about Taka is that the Taka mirror match is stupid. So, you know, that's the only thing I don't like. I think the Taka mirror match, once I tried playing that, it was like the stupidest thing I'd ever felt. And I agree with Hato-sama, where he says like you could barely call it VF. Yes, it would just be modern day VF, starting the lore over, and every character's young. You know. I mean, then again, look, Tekken shows that doesn't matter, right? In Tekken, like, how old is Nina right now? You know, like, how old are the characters in Tekken? It's like late age, but the girls have not. You know, Ling still looks, and yeah, I know Ling is Asian, but come on. You know, so. So it's like, So, you know, in fighting games, age ain't nothing but a number. You know? Yeah. Ling is like, looks like she's 16, but yeah, you know, so, you know, I think it's like the theme of Tekken 8, Ling is still it's still not legal for Jin. You know, so, it's like, I'm okay with that frame situation adjustment because it's so Taka and you just treat Taka as another character. But if you want to know pure hell, it's the Taka mirror match. Playing Taka versus Taka, it just feels so weird, and it's a weird game of like lows and throws and whatever else. Take for VF versus ID02812. Who decided to get a token handle on PlayStation Network? But then again, this Vanessa does look like a security guard, right? Like a prison security guard without a bra. Maybe UPS officer without a bra. But not the shorts, you know, like you wearing camo pants. We can be even more. I mean, we could say park ranger without a bra, zookeeper without a bra. And Nelly, I really, really miss your Final Showdown costumes. I can't wait until that DLC pack comes out eventually. I'm hoping that DLC pack with all the content will come out this summer, but I have a feeling it will be Christmas. The Type S DLC pack. It's gonna, I believe in it, but I think it's gonna, at this rate, it's coming out in like December. I'm surprised the Tekken DLC pack hasn't come out yet. It looks like that's coming out for the 1 year anniversary, which I thought the Type S would be the 1 year anniversary, but it looks like Type S is going to be the 1.5 year anniversary, and we're just hoping. So what I mean by Type S is there's a Type S costume, that's the naked costume, but that's where, or the underwear costume, but that's when I believe Sega will release a whole ton, like thousands of costume pieces that were from Final Showdown. But I think Type S, at this rate, it looks like Tekken's going to come out on the 1 year anniversary. And that's just my guess. And so Type S comes after that, because we've got like Type E. That's going to be the Tekken one, is my guess. I'm hoping. If the Tekken DLC does not have the next type, that's going to be very disappointing, because that means like that we're way, way, way off. Alright, Chibita versus Aramusu.
Round 2. Ready, go!
Yeah, those item win costumes are awesome. What are we talking about here, Doug? Ah, okay. You're talking about the Taka matchup, okay. Well, there's a part of me that believes in focusing on the network, but if there was a dichotomy, and it might not be, but if there was a dichotomy of Virtua Fighter 6, Ultimate Showdown netcode, I'll definitely go Virtua Fighter 6. But if Ultimate Showdown could be worked on netcode right now, I would love that. Yes, 100% would want that. I think everybody wants that. It would be too little, too late, but everybody wants that. But actually, it might not be too little, too late. You know, people are celebrating. People are actually. Oh my God. Okay, people are actually celebrating, rollback netcode patches. So yeah, Virtua Fighter could totally have a rollback netcode launch. Except for the people that got this game on PS Plus, canceled their subscription, and no longer have the game. But hopefully, by resubscribing to PS Plus, they get the game. But I heard now that the problem is if you got it if you somehow subscribe to PS Now, at any point you're screwed. But I've heard that Sony will fix it for you. You just gotta. But not everybody goes to customer service. I'm starting to do more of the Leon fadeaway whenever in post throw escape situations. Still not natural for me, but it's something that I'm starting to get to do in practice more. And it's fun because actually it does open up the opponent if the opponent attacks into it. Let me see who else is playing. Is anybody else streaming Virtua Fighter? Because I am gonna have my dinner or lunch, and get back to work. But I really loved everyone's company was awesome in here. I had a great time chatting. We got some VF going in the background, so today was VF TV. Because I got kicked out of the tournament, or I don't know, I got lagged out of the tournament, which sucks. Especially when I was winning. So I like to believe I was winning. Alright. Yes, NYC VF. Yes, Harpenier. Oh, dude, they are doing the live offline VF tournament right now. I'm gonna raid that right now. We're gonna raid that because we should. Everybody gotta support that. Shoutouts to New York. Shoutouts to Griffy Bones, who is in New York right now at that event. And enjoy. This is an awesome VF Saturday. It is right now. Let's do it a raid. Tell everybody Chanchai says hi. He's eating his pizza and watching. And let's do that right away because that is the best thing we can do for Virtua Fighter. So everybody say hi to Harpenier. One of the best commentators we'll ever have. And I hope we'll continue to commentate for years to come. Oh, it's just me having a fun chat, Jog. But thank you for your insights too. You always give blurring. Streamer Jog always has lots of good stuff to say for Vanessa, so I hope you're already chatting each other on Vanessa Tech. But blurring, awesome to see you. Shout outs to all of you. And Quincy Post, thank you so much. I don't know if you have me on Discord, but Chanchai number 1457. Or message me on Twitter. It's Chanchai number 1457. Feel free to add me because, yeah, I want to chat with you too. Alright, thanks a lot, Juice. Everybody, enjoy the New York VF now.
Knockout!